Yo everyone, I'm starting this video off a little differently than how I normally do them, guys. You probably would notice that I'm in the full screen uh, if you didn't realize. But don't worry, I will be breaking down the entire card for you guys, and I will also be going through a few different things, including my results on the last card, which was UFC Qatar, Saryukian versus Hooker, for whoever is curious as well. But before that, I just thought I would give you guys like a quick life update and sort of share why maybe some of the videos weren't coming out like on time, or they were just coming out later than normal. And you guys might have heard me say stuff even in some of the videos saying like I haven't felt like making some videos more recently, maybe the past month. And I will say I still do enjoy making videos, guys. I enjoy the community as well. And I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. But basically, things were getting very hectic for me over the past month. I was organizing my new schedule and I'm starting work for a new company. I've mentioned that before. I also have gotten sick twice in the past month, which didn't help anything, of course, to be honest. But the main thing that was actually taking the brunt of my focus wasn't even any of those things, to be honest with you. It was actually my dog, if you would believe it. He was taking a turn for the worse this past month. He just wasn't looking good, guys. I took him to the vet a couple of times just to see what we could do. He had a couple of episodes this past month where I just had to like rush him into emergency, but I sort of knew what they were going to say. Like when I took him in, I knew what they were going to say, guys. And I knew it was going to be time to say goodbye pretty soon, you know? So last week, sometime after UFC Qatar, I did have to say goodbye to my dog. Just, you know, like I said, it just happened last week. But like when I think about it, he lived a long time. He was 18 years old, guys, and for a dog his age, even when he was like 17, he was like sprinting up and down. He could play catch and everything. He was healthier than a lot of dogs that I've seen. But like I said, his health took like a sharper turn in the wrong direction the past like 6 months, I would say. But it took an even sharper turn in the past month. So it's hard to say goodbye, but I do feel blessed somewhat that I've been able to have him for as long as I did, since like I said, a lot of other dogs haven't been as lucky, and you know, they haven't been as in good of shape as he was even later in his life, even though it is a hard loss to take. I also do want to say that if anyone else has gone through anything similar or is going through anything similar or anything hard in general, just know that it does get easier over time, and feel free to leave a comment talking about it if you feel like you want to. By the way, I'll answer the comment the best way I can. But more importantly than that, it's probably more important than putting a comment in the comment section. Please do talk to your friends and family. If you need any help to go through anything that you're going through, guys, that's probably the most important thing you can do. But anyways, I know it might feel weird to just sort of segue into the video now, but you know, sort of just do the regular video. But I'm still excited, guys. Regardless of what everything's happening, I'm still excited for UFC events. I've been a long time fan of the UFC, as you guys know, and this card is a great card. Prelims are stacked, main card is stacked. I'm excited for it. It's also one of those cards where I feel like underdogs can win, like a lot of underdogs can win, and a lot of fights can go either way. So there's some great matchmaking here in quite a few of the fights on the card. So I do want to get into it, even though it's on a bit of a more sour note though. Let's talk about how we did on last week's card. To move on from this, we went 11-3 on picks for UFC Qatar, which is pretty solid in my opinion. All the fighters that we chose as confident picks for the card did also win, which is great to see. I did have a parlay cash with all of them on it. There were the fighters on the left side of the screen that you guys can see in the confident picks list. It was Abdul-Rahman Yakyaev, Asya Amabayev, and Arman Sarukian. When it does come down to how the bets went though, here on screen are all the bets I had on the card, and I don't think I actually added any bets whilst I was watching the card live this time, guys. If I did, someone please do let me know, but all these bets on screen should and were in the betting guide that I uploaded before the card took place, guys. I will now highlight in green all the bets that cashed, and in red all the bets that did not hit. As you can see, we did have a great night of bets, guys. In fact, it was probably one of our better nights that we've had so far. We made about, I think it was like 7.5 units of profit. It should be on the screen for you guys. So it should be around like a 75% ROI on our bets, which is just fantastic. It doesn't happen all the time, so it's important to acknowledge when things do go well. We all did a great job there. I'm keen to also have another great week this weekend on bets. I've also wanted to say, before I get into my predictions, that I will be posting the full card betting guide video for this card sometime tomorrow. And if you guys want to be a part of the betting guide by becoming the subscribers bet of the week, please go into the comment section below and let me know what your favorite bets are for this card. I also do want to remind everyone to join the free Discord as another place to chat with me and other subscribers. It's also a place that you can post your subscribers bets of the week at any time if you cook something up before I even post my prediction video. Lastly, I will be streaming this weekend for the main card of UFC 323. I hope to see some of you there, and please subscribe if you're not already and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss out on any streams or any of my uploads, guys. I would appreciate it. Anyways, to finally get into this video, it's been a while now. I'll be starting with the prelims and working my way all the way to the main event. Timestamps are in the description and the comment section below if you'd like to skip to any fight in particular. We're going to be starting with the first fight of the card, which is Muhammad Naimov versus Mairon Santos. And you know what, guys? This fight and a fight that's later on in this card, it's a fight between Yan and Bogdan Guskov, are both fights where I feel like my picks could have potentially been put in my confident picks list, but I was just on the edge of doing it for both of them. So there's a little bit of a spoiler for you guys. You guys could probably guess who I'm picking in the Yan versus Bogdan Guskov fight. But yeah, Mairon Santos, he should be able to win this fight, guys. I think it's a pretty solid fight for him stylistically. I think that Muhammad Naimov will be at a pretty decent sized disadvantage here in the striking, almost certainly, in my opinion. I think he's going to need to out-grapple and control Mairon Santos massively in this fight, and he's going to need to be able to do that whilst maintaining a high pace, in my opinion, which I think his cardio isn't very suited for. If you guys watch his other fights, I really don't think he'll be able to do that. I've seen him gas out quite a lot, and slow down. I won't say gas out fully, but slow down pretty significantly as he gets to the later rounds. So with all that said, I do think Mairon Santos wins this fight, most likely by decision or even potentially by KO in the second and third rounds of the fight. I think I may have underestimated him a little bit early on, and this is because of the Francis Marshall fight, but the dude's 25 years of age, guys. He's very young. He's improving with the fights he's had in the UFC, and I think he's a solid dude who can get a win here, in my opinion. That's my pick. Moving on to Abdul-Malik versus Antonio Tricoli, and I'm going to say I'm not picking against Abdul-Malik here, guys. I don't care what gets said here. And I'm not picking against him, especially against someone as finishable as Antonio Tricoli. And Abdul-Malik, he's just too good here, I think, in my opinion. I will be picking him to win this fight. Feel very confident about it. After the Cody Brundage performance, maybe I don't feel super confident about him getting a finish, potentially. But I think KO decision would be the safest thing you could possibly do here, in my opinion. And I could see maybe Tricoli making it a little bit difficult for him in moments, maybe trying to clinch with him, maybe trying to pressure him a lot here. But in the end, I think Abdul-Malik probably going to get the KO here, probably going to get the finish here. And I'm going to say KO inside the first 2 rounds is going to be my official prediction for this fight. I think he's going to shake off a lot of Tricoli's initial pressure and clinch attempts, and he's going to hit him at some point here and put him away. Moving on to Iwo Baraniewski versus Ibo Aslan. And now I'm sure a few of my subscribers are aware that I did start doing full card predictions and breakdown videos for Dana White's Contender Series this year, which was a blast to do. It really was. I did enjoy it. I really do wish that Dana White's Contender Series took place twice a year. That would be awesome, honestly. But the reason that I mentioned that is because that Iwo Baraniewski did appear on this season's cast of fighters for Dana White's Contender Series, and not only did he appear on this season's DWCS, he was an underdog against Muhammad Ali and ended up knocking him out inside the first 20 seconds of the fight, guys. So it was a very impressive performance insane stuff. The UFC has seen that and now has placed him up against Ibo Aslan as his first big test in his UFC debut. And can I just say that I do think I'm going to lean towards Iwo Baraniewski to win this one, actually. And it might mostly be the fact that I've never thought very highly of Ibo Aslan, in my opinion, guys. If you don't know, I've picked against Ibo Aslan in almost every single one of his fights, I believe, in the UFC. I think even in his fight against Rafael Sequeira, I picked Sequeira to beat him. But please do keep in mind, guys, like with hindsight, it's a terrible pick, but like, is it hindsight or foresight? I don't know which one it is, but it's a terrible pick, however you look at it now, like in the future. But to get back on track here, guys, I picked Ion Cutelaba to beat Ibo Aslan. I also picked Billy Alicana to beat Ibo Aslan. And it's just because I've seen a lot of holes in Ibo Aslan's game that I really do not like, and I've seen them for a while now. And I just think, although this one is pretty close in terms of the fact that I really do think that both guys could get a KO here, in my opinion, if they just stand and bang. But Iwo was chosen as the favorite in this matchup, and I understand why they've given him the edge here, because I believe it's because of the grappling advantage that he does have. Ibo has also shown that he's got pretty bad grappling defense. This was the main reason I picked Cutelaba to beat him, guys, in their fight, and he went out there and subbed him inside the first round. Iwo's got a good, I believe it's a judo and a submission wrestling background, if I remember correctly. It's what I've written in this script as well. And that is really going to be the way for him to win this fight with minimal risk, in my opinion. His grappling should be the great equalizer here for him against someone who can be quite dangerous in Ibo Aslan on the feet. But this isn't to say that Iwo can't knock him out or anything like that. Like I said, I think both guys could get the KO here. It's more so that I think the grappling advantage that he does have should be enough to make him like a relatively easy pick here, and I think it would be the easier way for him to get this win here, in my opinion. My official prediction for this fight will be Iwo Baraniewski by submission or KO. I think most likely he's going to be getting the finish here, so I do think Iwo inside the distance might be a bet that I'm looking for this fight, but to lean towards something here, I'll probably pick like by submission, in my opinion. Maybe he hurts Ibo on the feet and then jumps on some sort of submission, like a club and sub sort of thing. That's my pick. Moving on to Edson Barboza versus Jalin Turner. And this is another one, guys, where I feel like I'm not going to be able to pick Edson Barboza to win a fight against a strong opponent, especially not against Jalin Turner here. At this point in his career, I think that Edson is just done. Like, I would definitely not have matched him up against someone like Jalin Turner, in my opinion, but I do guess that the UFC just wants to give Jalin some sort of bounce back fight, so to speak, so that he can sort of like come back looking like a little bit of a killer in a lot of people's eyes after a very short retirement. Like, if you guys don't know, he did retire shortly after his fight against Ignacio Bahamondes, where he lost by submission. But that's pretty much all there is to say about this fight, guys. I rewatched the Drakkar Close fight for this specific prediction, and I just think to myself every single time I watch it, I'm like, Edson a few years ago would have never lost the Drakkar Close. Like, I would have never expected him to lose that match. I would have expected him to win that matchup, maybe even by KO, in my opinion. But now he's almost 40 years of age. He's taken so much visible damage, and now he's just up against a super dangerous guy who's going to be like probably like one of the tallest and rangiest and most dangerous guys he's probably ever versed. He's going to be the biggest lightweight he's probably ever versed, and Edson's just been versing nothing but featherweights, and now he's moving back up to lightweight. I don't know. Like, he didn't look good against Drakkar Close. I don't know, guys. Like, Jalin Turner's my pick for this fight. Confident picks this edition. I feel like he's going to win this fight also by TKO, which is pretty sad. I wouldn't want to see that, but I do think it's going to happen inside the first round, maybe the first 2 rounds. Moving on to Marvin Vettori versus Bruno Ferreira, and this is one that I think is a bit more interesting than what people are thinking right now, because I think in the past, I've usually agreed with a lot of people that have said like stuff like that Marvin Vettori, like his fights, if you look at Marvin Vettori's fights, they're pretty free money to go to decision. So you can always bet on like a Marvin Vettori fight to go the distance. And I have made a chunk of change on that saying there, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you guys watch my videos, like you've seen my videos, especially my older videos. I don't know if everyone's seen them, but I made a video on like the best chins in the UFC, and Marvin Vettori was on that list, and I did say that he might have the pound for pound best chin in the UFC, but we've seen other great chins get cracked recently. We saw Max Holloway's chin get cracked by Ilia Topuria. He's been dropped a lot recently too. And I think that we may see Marvin get hurt and finish for the first time in his career in this fight, which is just crazy to say because I do think, even though it's hard to imagine, I think it's just a big possibility here, honestly. I think maybe he won't get outright KO'd, but I think a similar thing might happen to what I've said about some other fights where maybe he gets wobbled, maybe he gets hurt, and then someone with the skill, like the submission skill of Bruno Ferreira, might be able to jump on him and get the sub after he's hurt him on the feet. That's what I think might happen here, guys. I think Marvin's a little too one-dimensional for someone like Bruno Ferreira, in my opinion. On the feet, I think he just gets hit way too much in exchanges. You guys see it. I also think that he's relied so much on his chin. Like I said, he gets hit a lot in his exchanges, and this might be the hardest hitter he's versed for a long time. Maybe the hardest hitter he's ever versed, and this is even counting Jared Cannonier, who hit him with some massive shots. I think he hits way harder than Jared Cannonier, in my opinion. Bruno Ferreira to win this fight is my pick. I think he wins it by submission, maybe by hurting him, like I said, on the feet, and then subbing him on the ground. That's my official prediction for this fight. Wouldn't surprise me for him to win by KO or decision either. I might just bet the money line since Bruno Ferreira is, I believe he's the underdog for this one, so I might just bet the money line there on that one. Moving on to Nazim Sadykhov versus Fares Ziam, and this one really is another tough one because Ziam is right at the cusp of getting into those rankings, and I think he actually deserves a ranked opponent already. You know what I mean? I don't think he should have got someone else to fight, in my opinion. If I've said the right person, I believe I said Fares Ziam here. I also think that Nazim Sadykhov has done really well. He's looked very solid. Apart from maybe that draw with Borshev that hasn't aged very well, he's looked quite solid overall. He's finished a lot of his opponents, including Ismail Bonfim, Nicholas Motta, Terrance McKinney, and Evan Elder. And all those names are just impressive to me, regardless of how he won those fights in terms of some doctor's stoppages in there. But guys, like at the end of the day, one of these guys will win this fight and get a ranked opponent next. But the question is, who will it be out of these two? And my answer to that question is that this fight's extremely close, and it feels like one of those fights that's going to be a rough one for both guys. I think maybe it's going to be a back and forth war here, both guys taking a bit of damage, and then to finish it off, we're going to get a decision win for one of these guys, and that's what I think happens here, in my opinion. I think this fight goes to decision, and I think I'm slightly leaning towards the underdog in Nazim Sadykhov here to get it done here by decision. I think this is going to be a close fight overall. I also think the left-hander for Ziam is going to cause some problems for Sadykhov here. I think Sadykhov has had trouble with left-handed fighters in the past, and Ziam has a really hard-hitting jab and left hook, but I just think that Nazim's going to land more. Like, that's what I really think it's going to come down to. That's the deciding factor for me. I think he's going to squeak out these rounds by being the more active fighter, in my opinion, on the feet. I think his kicks to the body and head are going to do him well here, and I think it's going to slow down for Ziam as the fight goes on a bit longer, and I think it's going to start looking better for Nazim Sadykhov in the later rounds here. I think Fares is going to try to clinch a lot here in this fight. I think there's going to be some grappling moments here, maybe more initiated by Fares Ziam, but I think the majority of the fight takes place on the feet here, and I slightly edge that to Sadykhov because of the volume and maybe even potentially finding the more damaging shots on the feet. Moving on to Maycee Barber versus Karine Silva, and listen guys, if you don't remember the prediction I gave for Maycee Barber's last fight, that got cancelled. By the way, if you guys didn't know, it was the main event that got cancelled against Erin Blanchfield. Fight literally got cancelled like during the walkout. And Maycee Barber was reportedly having like seizures in the back room before coming out, which is terrible to hear. But if you don't remember my prediction, I actually did pick Maycee Barber as a pretty sizable underdog to beat Erin Blanchfield, and I'll never know how that pick was gonna go. Like, I'll never know, guys. But I picked her against Erin Blanchfield, guys. So, if you see me picking her as a sizable underdog against Erin Blanchfield, I don't think I could not pick her against someone like Karine Silva, when Karine Silva is sort of like a worse version of Erin Blanchfield in my mind. I really do think that Maycee Barber, as long as there's no medical issues here, should win this fight a good amount of the time by keeping the fight standing and outdoing Karine Silva on the feet with volume and damaging shots. Karine Silva isn't really the best at any one thing, in my opinion, but she does prefer grappling, and Maycee Barber is a tough chick in general, who's also hard to take down and control. So I'm going to pick Maycee Barber by decision win. That is my pick, guys. Hope she's healthy and ready to go for this one. She's going to need to be healthy, guys. Moving on to Terrance McKinney versus Chris Duncan. And now this is a fight that you can't, like, I feel like I can't avoid looking bad on in terms of picking, because if I pick Terrance and he sort of fumbles again to finish some dude, I'll look stupid for not picking Chris Duncan, who just keeps winning as an underdog against tough opponents. But if I pick Chris and he just gets blitzed by McKinney, then I look bad as well. So it's a pretty lose-lose pick in my opinion. But honestly, initially, I just wanted to lean towards Chris Duncan. That was my initial lean. And it's because he's proved more than Terrance in my mind in terms of his wins. But, like, I just can't get McKinney blitzing down and finishing Chris Duncan out of my head. I really do feel like that's going to happen here. He's still a decent-sized underdog too, and I love picking underdogs, guys, outright when they do have a good chance to win. So I feel like I'm going to slightly lean towards McKinney here to get it done, and I'm hoping he gets another one of his patented first-round finishes against Chris Duncan here. And it's just because Chris Duncan's been hurt many times, especially early on in some of his fights. And he was finished early on by Manuel Torres as well. And he did it with his grappling. And Terrance McKinney is quite an underrated grappler as well. So I'm going to pick Terrance McKinney by first round finish. That's my official prediction for the fight. Wouldn't surprise me if he lost this fight against Chris Duncan or he got finished in the first round either. But I'm just going to pick Terrance McKinney here. He's too big of an underdog for me to pass up here. Moving on to Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres. And now, guys, like I said in my intro of this video, this card is filled with fights where I could see the underdogs winning very easily. I've picked a few underdogs already. This fight's no exception to the rule. Manuel Torres is no joke. I just talked about him. He can sub you, he can KO you, and all those finishes have come in the first round. He's a madman when it comes to the finish. Grant Dawson is going to have to fight for his life in that first round, and I don't doubt he will shoot takedowns in that first round at all. I just wonder if he, if it will come a little bit too late in that fight. After he's taken a couple of damaging shots on the feet, he becomes compromised before he starts shooting those takedowns. And this is not to count out Grant Dawson at all. He's the favorite for a reason. He's a decent-sized favorite for a reason. Manuel Torres has been taken down and submitted in his career before, and Grant Dawson might be one of the best grapplers overall in the division. But I do just think that this fight's going to get crazy early, and it's just going to be massively crazy. And if Grant can't secure any control time over the course of the first round, I think Manuel Torres either finds the chin somehow or gets some sort of guillotine submission as Grant's shooting in more desperately in the first or second round. Still, though, it really wouldn't surprise me to see Grant go out there and get a lot of control time over Manuel Torres and potentially submit him after locking in the body triangle. But I think I'm picking quite a few underdogs on this card, guys, as you can see, and Manuel Torres will be one of them. I'm going to be picking Manuel Torres by first round finish, actually, either by submission or KO, but I'm leaning towards a KO. Moving on to the main card now, in Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. And like I said earlier, I feel quite confident in this pick, but it was borderline to add to my confident picks list since I like to reserve that for fights that I almost feel like should be sure things, in my opinion. But this is still a little bit closer in my mind. Jan Blachowicz is just so impressive. Even at his age, I do think he can do away with Bogdan Guskov in this fight, either by decision or by catching him on the feet in an exchange. I think Jan, when you look at Jan's career, Jan took Ankalaev to a draw. Jan also gave Ferreira an extremely close fight on the feet that could have arguably gone to him. And Jan also arguably beat Carlos Solberg in their fight together, and I personally think he did win that fight. And I picked him as an underdog to win that one, and I was pretty upset when he didn't get the nod there, but it was a close one regardless. So this is all to say that the dude's a force to be reckoned with, and although I do think that Bogdan is dangerous, I just think Jan has versed the best of the best, and he's given tough fights to those guys, and I think he should be able to keep his distance against Guskov here, attack the legs here, use his jab and his straight punches effectively, and even if he thinks to use his grappling, I think it could work wonders for him against Guskov here. I think Guskov's been taken down and controlled by many fighters he's versed, even recently, like the Billy Alicana fight. Billy took him down, took his back and everything, and he took that fight on short notice as well when he was undersized against Bogdan Guskov. I think Jan's a smart dude. I think I see him winning this one with pretty high certainty. Feel free to add this one to your confident picks list, guys, or to a parlay as well. I feel pretty good about it. I just, I was close to doing it. Jan by decision is my official prediction, but I could see a finish for sure. Moving on to Henry Cejudo versus Peyton Talbot. And you guys don't even know how badly I want to pick Henry Cejudo here. I might just do it in the end. You guys don't know. You'll never know. Well, you will know. Why do I say you never know, but you will know. I'm so I've been so close to doing it, and it's because Henry just if he was to just time some solid takedowns in this fight against Talbot, I could just easily see him doing well with some control time, maybe like getting a little scary in some moments against Talbot on the feet, but I could see him pulling out a win here. Henry's pretty smart. He's still relatively quick for an older fighter. He has the background that's needed to beat someone like Talbot as well, with that wrestling background. And although people do say that Talbot's grappling has improved, the dude still made many mistakes in his last fight that a better grappler could capitalize on, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, realistically, if this fight does stay on the feet and Henry doesn't shoot many takedowns here, like he has been doing in his latter half of his career right now, he's most likely, in my opinion, probably gonna lose. But then again, like, if I do think about it, Talbot does get hit a lot on the feet. Like, he does lose exchanges on the feet, probably more than people realize. I think, like, if you go watch his last win against Lima was piecing him up a little bit on the feet, especially later on in that fight, and he probably shouldn't have been shooting as much as he was, because he was like landing some very solid shots on the feet. But in the end, like, if we just think about it, can't we just think another crafty vet pulls out another crafty vet performance? You know what I'm saying? You know, we've been seeing a lot of older fighters recently get wins in their career. Peyton really hasn't versed anyone at the level of Cejudo either, if you think about it, even given Cejudo's age as well. So who's to say he can't get it done here, guys? And something else I want to say is that for some reason, I'm just picturing Cejudo doing really well in this fight, especially early on, maybe securing the first 2 rounds of this fight, maybe looking bad in the 3rd round, making me worry and stress, but pulling out the decision win here, that's what I feel like is going to happen. I do worry, though, really badly about, like, the body shots from Peyton Talbot here, and some damage affecting Cejudo's cardio going into the later rounds. That's where I think it's going to be most dangerous. Like I said, I feel like he could get finished in that 3rd round of this fight. But in the end, I'm just gonna lean towards Henry Cejudo here, guys, to defeat Peyton Talbot by decision in this fight. I think he's just gonna mix in some nice shots. I think he's gonna shoot those takedowns here and look pretty good with some solid ground control and win the fight. That's what I think. But this is more of a feeling pick here, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I've watched the tape and I still keep convincing myself that I think Cejudo can pull this one off. And I do see openings where he can do well here. That's my pick, guys. I don't know. That's my pick. Moving on to the feature fight of the card in Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. And I can't lie to you guys, I'll always mention when I've been high on a fighter, or if I've been doubting a fighter for a while. I do feel like that's an important thing to say, because it lets you like see a little bit into my mindset on certain fighters. But that's to say, I've been very high on Taira for a long time. I really do think he could be a future champ of the flyweight division. His grappling is really that good, and I just do love the guy. But putting Brandon Moreno as an underdog against Taira just seems very crazy to me, in my opinion. Bit disrespectful also, overall, in my opinion. I will be picking Brandon Moreno here, guys. Not going to lie to you. I'm going to pick Brandon Moreno to win this one by decision. I do think this is going to be a close fight, and I know how good of a fighter Taira is. And I'm probably a bigger fan, like I did say, I'm probably a bigger fan of Taira than I am of Moreno, but I just think that Moreno is not going to be an easy guy to get through here. I do, however, think it's a bad thing that the fight is 3 rounds. I will say that. Moreno is probably going to do better if the fight was 5 rounds. I think I would feel more confident in picking him if the fight was 5 rounds, because in a 3-round fight, I could just see Taira potentially securing some sort of grappling advantage here in 2 rounds. And if he does do that, he just wins. You know what I mean? So it's not the best that it's 3 rounds. Moreno's used to 5 rounds, but Moreno's also notoriously hard to hold down. You guys see that he's a solid scrambler. He's got a great striking style that's very awkward, and it makes him a tough dude for anyone to fight. So I will be picking him to win this fight. I think I'm going to see him here beating Taira in the stand-up, keeping this fight on the feet, out tit-for-tatting him here to win a decision victory. I think that's what happens here, guys. But I will be happy if Taira wins, because I'm a fan. Moving on now to the co-main event of the card, Alexandre Pantoja versus Joshua Van. And I'm just going to say it here right now, guys. I've been high on Joshua Van for a while. Like I said, I'm always going to mention if I'm high on someone. And I've said it many times through live streams and other videos that I will be picking Joshua Van to upset Alexandre Pantoja here and become the new flyweight champion at such a young age. I really do think he's got what it takes to win this fight as long as he avoids the back takes of Pantoja in this fight. I do think he can win it. He can win it in the striking. He can win it with his pace. The dude's just so technical. He's starting to hurt guys more and more in his fights. He's got insane cardio. And not only that, he's got insane volume when he throws, and his takedown defense on top of that all has just improved in such a short amount of the time. It really is insane, and I know how good Pantoja is, guys. Like, I know why he's a massive favorite here. The guy's literally in talks about being the flyweight GOAT over DJ, which I still don't fully agree with. I don't think he's surpassed DJ just yet in my mind, but to even be in the conversation, you have to be one beast of a man in the first place. But I just feel that Pantoja cannot, if he can't secure that back take against Joshua Van, I really do struggle to see him winning each round against him here. I don't think he'll be able to hold him down fully or take him down fully in any other way. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I really do see Joshua Van stuffing a lot of the takedown attempts. Pantoja always comes out fast early as well and tends to slow down. So I think that's where Van can pick up the pace a little bit and start stealing some rounds too. But then again, like I said, I'm no idiot, guys. Like, I know why Pantoja's favorite here. Like, I could completely put I could do the opposite argument. Like, I could say that Van hasn't versed anyone who's higher tier in the division besides Brandon Royval, and without even knocking him down in that last round, he arguably lost that fight. If you guys look at the stats of the fight, and Pantoja is going to be a whole nother beast on top of that all, and to overcome it is no easy thing for Van, but I'm not afraid to pick underdogs, guys. You can see that by this video. I've probably picked, like, I think 50-50 or more underdogs than favorites here. So I'm not afraid at all. And even though it wouldn't surprise me to see Van get dominated or, like, more so, like, submitted than dominated, that wouldn't really surprise me. But I'm hoping it doesn't happen. I think Van can stuff the takedowns. Joshua Van is my pick here. I'm saying he wins by decision. Moving on to the main event of the evening, Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan 2. And like, this is another one. I'm really nervous for Merab Dvalishvili here. I think overall I have to pick Merab. Like, regardless of what I say, regardless of what happens in this prediction, I think I just have to pick Merab here. He just beat Yan so convincingly the first time, and he's only been improving since that fight. The guy's been trusting more of his own submission attempts, like you guys can see. We're seeing it more in his training footage. We're seeing it more in his fights. We saw it in his rematch with his submission victory over Sean O'Malley in that rematch, guys. But something I do want to say is that even though he's been improving, I also do remember pretty clearly thinking that when Yan fought Merab the first time, I really did think he was injured in that first fight. He really basically, like, he threw no punches from one side in that fight. He remained in, I believe it was in the southpaw position there for a good amount of the fight. I really do think he was injured. I think Yan has shown that he's prone to injuries. I think we've heard a lot about it after each and every fight as well now, which is pretty bad as well. I really feel like he could get injured again in this fight. But regardless, the point that I'm making is that when you think about this fight from a technical standpoint, and if you think about it from a standpoint that Yan was injured going into this as well, Yan is just going to be the more technical guy. He's probably the most technical bantamweight on the roster, who's got fantastic takedown defense, who's hard to hold down. He's got a great ability to get back to his feet. So on paper, he should be someone that could beat Merab pretty well. Like when you look at Umar as well, they're on paper. There's someone that could beat Merab, even knowing what Merab did in the first fight with him. And I do think Petr Yan has what it takes to become a champion again. And these odds are just so insane. Like, plus 350 seems crazy to me. But I understand because of the 50-45. But still, yeah, Merab's still going to be my pick here, guys. I can't not pick against him. I'm going to pick him to win by decision. He's just so physical. He's so strong in the clinch. And his ability to non-stop keep the pressure and the pace, shoot endless takedowns, it's going to be hard to stop, even for someone like Petr Yan. And I think he's just going to keep up that crazy pace here and just tire him out as the fight goes on. But I'm nervous for him. I think that Petr Yan should be closer in odds with him still. Merab by decision is my final prediction, guys. But I'm not going to be surprised. Like, if Petr Yan wins this fight somehow, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to think it was crazy upset or anything like that. And if he comes firing out of both stances and looks pretty solid, I think it causes a lot of issues for Merab here. So we'll have to see how this fight goes. That was my prediction for the main event, guys, and that wraps up my full card predictions and breakdown for the entire UFC 323 Dvalishvili versus Yan 2 fight card. If you guys have any thoughts or any questions for me regarding the card, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll do my best to respond to every single comment in the comment section below. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and see you guys next time.